Hello, welcome back to CinemaBurger. I'm Scott Berger, and I'm here to talk about Too Fast, Too Furious. Now, this is the sequel to The Fast and the Furious, and we continue Brian O'Connor's story, played by Paul Walker. Now he is on the run as a fugitive from the LAPD, and he goes to Florida, as seen in a short movie that takes place before Too Fast, Too Furious. It's called Fast and the Furious Prelude. It just shows him on the run. Brian has gotten involved in the street racing scene in Florida, and in this film we get introduced to the characters of Tej, played by Ludacris, and Roman Pierce, played by Tyrese Gibson. Now, this movie still heavily focuses on the street racing scenes. The opening scene focuses on the importance of closing the streets and the importance of the high profile of street racing. Now, Dom, Vince, Letty, and Mia have all supposedly been on the run, so we don't know about these characters yet. But this movie's all about Brian and his past, just like The Fast and the Furious was about Dominic Toretto and his past. Now, in this movie, the racing scenes feel a bit more stylized and different because there's a different director. The first movie was directed by Rob Cohen, while Too Fast, Too Furious has been directed by John Singleton, who recently passed away. Now, Brian O'Connor's skills in racing have improved in terms of not using his nitro too early. He witnesses another racer in the opening scene boost too quickly, and the racer ultimately pays a price for it. In the race here, Brian uses it at the right time, and it ends up giving him the victory. Now, in terms of upping the stakes, in first of all the racing scenes, in this one, at the end of the race, there's a bridge that gets raised, so it's almost like a ramp. So the very end of the race is a jump, basically, which is a little bit more intense than the original movie, where it's just racing around the streets. Now, when the cops show up to stop the street race, like in the first movie, this time things are different. When Brian runs in his car, the cops use darts that turn off the car's electronics, so they're EMP darts. This is a step up from the first movie, since the cops didn't really have a way to stop the street racers. When he gets taken in, Brian is introduced to a customs agent played by James Ramir, and the FBI agent played by Tom Barry from the first movie. They tell him that there's a drug dealer named Carter Verone who's using Miami to import and export drugs. They sent in a customs agent played by Eva Mendes, and she's been in cover for over a year, and they think she's compromised. So Carter Verone needs drivers who will outrun the cops and are not afraid of them. So Brian O'Connor is originally going to be driving with an FBI agent, but Brian doesn't believe that they're skilled enough to go undercover, so he tests their knowledge and they fail. So Brian wants to bring in his own person, because if he does this, his record will be expunged. So he brings in his childhood friend Roman Pierce, played by Tyrese Gibson, and when they go meet him, he's under house arrest, so his record will be expunged if he agrees to help. Now, Too Fast, Too Furious takes place more from the cop side of things. While Brian O'Connor is undercover in both this movie and the previous movie, you see more of what the cops are doing in Too Fast, Too Furious. There are plenty of street races in Too Fast, Too Furious, but they are used as a means to an end, whether they need to prove themselves as drivers for Carter Verone, or they need to get more cars to use, since the cars that the cops give Brian and Roman are bugged, so they don't want the cops to know what they're doing. While most of the chase scenes in the movie are pretty standard, there's one particular one on a highway that feels kind of like Bad Boys 2, which is interesting because both of those movies came out in the same year, only a month apart. There's a scene where other racers are testing their skills to be part of Carter Verone's crew, and one of the drivers, who, funny enough, looks like he belongs in Smash Mouth, gets run over by a truck. And it's clearly that he's dead. The driver didn't get out of the car, and the movie just kind of glosses over it. This is one of the only instances I've noticed in this franchise where people are killed as collateral damage and it's not addressed, because they try not to kill anyone since they're all about precision driving and they have very unique skills. So it's interesting how they just show someone getting run over by a truck who isn't a outright bad guy. Now, near the end of the movie, in the final chase scene, Roman and Brian have Carverone's goons in each of their cars. Secretly, they have installed ejector seats in the passenger seat. So when Brian and Roman press those buttons, you zoom in and you see the nitrous oxide go into the seats, and it's similar to the first movie where you zoom in on the cars when they boost. So that's pretty interesting. It still continues the trend of the first movie. So now Brian and Roman stop the drug dealers. They get Eva Mendes' character out of deep cover, and both Roman and Brian's records are expunged. So in terms of plot development, we get closer with Roman Pierce and we meet Tej, and now they're both free men. I give Too Fast, Too Furious 3 out of 5 burgers, because while the chase scenes are fun and it's not boring, you don't have much of the original cast in the movie, which is, I feel, a downside. So next time we'll be talking about Fast and Furious, and I'll see you next time.